The Galactic Council's worst nightmare had come true. Humans were escaping their Deathworld prison, Earth. An urgent distress signal blared through the council chambers, emanating from the observation outpost orbiting the blue-green planet. The message was clear. Humans had achieved faster-than-light travel and were fleeing Earth's atmosphere en masse. Panic spread like wildfire among the alien representatives. Earth had long been designated a quarantine zone, its extreme conditions and the humans' perceived violent nature deemed too dangerous for galactic society. Now that carefully maintained isolation was shattering before their eyes. Jeremy Shaw, a 35-year-old former military pilot, sat at the helm of humanity's first operational FTL ship. His hands gripped the controls as the prototype vessel pierced Earth's atmospheric barrier. The ship's hull vibrated, then steadied as it emerged into the inky blackness of space. Jeremy's moment of triumph was short-lived. A Xindi patrol vessel loomed before him, its weapons primed. Commander Fenris, a high-ranking Xindi military officer, tasked with maintaining Earth's quarantine, barked orders to his crew. The alien ship fired, aiming to disable the human vessel. To Fenris's shock, Jeremy's ship withstood the assault. Its advanced technology, born from humanity's relentless drive to overcome adversity, proved surprisingly resilient. Jeremy's combat training kicked in. He pushed the ship's engines to their limit, weaving through a nearby asteroid field with exceptional skill. The Xindi vessel gave chase, but Jeremy's superior piloting kept him one step ahead. As he navigated the treacherous field, other human ships joined him, forming a makeshift fleet. They set course for the nearest habitable system, determination etched on every face. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The chamber buzzed with fearful whispers and heated debates. Some council members advocated for drastic measures, including a potential purge of Earth to prevent further human expansion. Others argued for containment, their voices tinged with terror at humanity's adaptability and the potential threat to galactic stability. The Council's fear was not unfounded. Humans had evolved on a world that most species considered uninhabitable. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and countless wars. Now they were bringing that hardened resilience to the stars. As Jeremy's fleet approached their target system, long-range sensors detected an incoming armada. The Galactic Council had dispatched a massive force to intercept the human ships, with orders to contain the situation by any means necessary. Jeremy took command of the human vessels, his military experience proving invaluable. He organized the ragtag group into a cohesive unit, preparing them for the impending confrontation. The future of humanity in the galaxy hung in the balance. Leading the vanguard of the alien armada was none other than Fenris. The Xindi commander found himself conflicted, his encounter with Jeremy's skills and resourcefulness challenging his preconceptions about humans. As the two fleets drew closer, tension mounted on both sides. The stage was set for a clash that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity, long contained on their Deathworld, was ready to prove they were more than just violent savages. They were survivors, innovators, and explorers. The Galactic Council's terror was about to be put to the test against human ingenuity and determination. As the first shots were fired, one thing became clear. The age of human isolation was over. The galaxy would never be the same again. Jeremy Shaw's mind raced as he assessed the impending confrontation. The alien armada loomed before them, a formidable wall of advanced technology and firepower. But humanity had not come this far to falter now. "All ships, this is Commander Shaw. Execute Operation Trident," Jeremy's voice crackled through the comm systems of the human fleet. The ragtag group of Earth vessels seamlessly split into three distinct units. Captain Sarah Martinez took charge of the decoy force, her years of tactical simulations about to be put to the ultimate test. "Activate holographic projectors and initiate sensor jamming protocols," Martinez ordered her crew. Within moments, the space around their small group of ships shimmered and warped. Where once there were a handful of vessels, now there appeared to be hundreds. The alien armada's sensors lit up with false readings, their commanders scrambling to make sense of the sudden proliferation of human ships. Fenris, at the helm of the vanguard, narrowed his eyes at the tactical display. "Something's not right," he muttered, his antenna twitching with suspicion. Maintain formation and prepare for multi-vector assault. As the decoy force engaged the aliens in a dazzling display of maneuvers, Jeremy led the stealth team towards the heart of the enemy fleet. Their ships, retrofitted with experimental cloaking technology, slipped between the massive alien vessels like ghosts. Jeremy's palms were slick with sweat as he guided his ship towards the Galactic Council's command vessel. The cloaking device hummed ominously, threatening to fail at any moment. "Steady," he whispered, more to himself than his crew. "We've only got one shot at this." As they approached the alien flagship, a young Xindi engineer named Zara was monitoring an auxiliary control station. Her antenna twitched as she noticed an almost imperceptible fluctuation in the sensor readings. "That's impossible," she murmured, fingers flying over her console. The more she dug, the more certain she became. There were cloaked ships nearby. A proximity alert blared, and suddenly Jeremy's ship materialized alongside the alien vessel. Zara found herself face to face with the human commander as he and his team breached the hull. "Don't move," Jeremy said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. Zara raised her hand slowly. "You're not what I expected," she said, her translator struggling with the nuances of human speech. Jeremy's expression softened slightly. "We rarely are. I need access to your ship's systems. Will you help us?" Meanwhile, Admiral Chen Wei orchestrated the main assault group's attack on the alien armada. The bridge of his flagship thrummed with tension as he gave the order. The space between the human and alien fleets warped and twisted. Localized areas of intense gravity bloomed like deadly flowers, catching the alien ships in their petals. Shields flickered and failed as the gravitational forces tore at them. He barked orders, trying to reorganize his forces, but the humans pressed their advantage relentlessly. Earth ships darted between asteroids, using the debris as cover and improvised weapons. They demonstrated a level of skill and adaptability that left the alien commanders reeling. Back on the Galactic Council's command ship, Jeremy and Zara worked feverishly to access the vessel's central computer core. Zara's fingers danced across the alien interface, translating and bypassing security protocols. "There," she said, pointing to a flashing icon. "That's the classified section." Zara nodded solemnly. "Your species' ability to adapt and overcome, it terrifies them. They feared you would upset the balance of power in the galaxy." In the Galactic Council chambers, the mood had shifted from concern to outright panic. Council member Draknar thumped his hand on the table, his scales flaring with agitation. Murmurs of dissent rippled through the chamber. An Arcturian representative stood, her luminous skin pulsing with anxiety. But to use such weapons, it goes against everything the Council stands for. Surely there must be another way. As the debate raged, the battle continued to unfold. The human fleet, though outnumbered, fought with a ferocity and skill that kept the alien armada at bay. Captain Martinez's decoy force continued to sow confusion, while Admiral Chen's main assault group pressed their attack with the gravitational weapons. Jeremy, having completed his mission on the Council's command ship, prepared to return to the fleet. He turned to Zara, conflict evident in his eyes. "Come with us," he said impulsively. "Help us show your people that we're not the monsters they think we are." Zara hesitated, her entire worldview shaken by what she had witnessed. The humans' ingenuity, their adaptability, and now their offer of trust. It went against everything she had been taught. As Jeremy's team readied for their escape, alarms blared throughout the alien vessel. Their presence had been detected, and security forces were closing in. The battle hung in the balance, with humanity's future in the stars at stake. The Galactic Council grappled with the implications of the humans' escape and their unexpected combat prowess. And in the midst of it all, an unlikely alliance was forming that could change the course of galactic history. Jeremy and Zara raced through the corridors of the alien command ship, their footsteps echoing off the metallic walls. Alarms blared, casting an eerie red glow over their faces as they navigated the labyrinthine structure. "This way!" Zara hissed, her antenna twitching as she guided them through a narrow passage. "There's a restricted area up ahead." They rounded a corner and came face to face with a massive security door. Jeremy's eyes widened as he took in the intricate locking mechanism. "Can you bypass it?" he asked, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Zara's fingers flew over the control panel, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's heavily encrypted, but I think I can—" There! The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a sight that made both of them gasp. Row upon row of stasis pods lined the walls, each containing a human figure suspended in a pale blue liquid. Zara moved to a nearby console, her antenna twitching rapidly as she absorbed the information scrolling across the screen. "It's a research facility," she said, her voice tight with disbelief. "They've been studying human DNA for centuries." Jeremy's mind reeled as he processed the implications. "So that's why they're so afraid of us," he muttered. "They've known about our potential all along." A distant explosion rocked the ship, reminding them of the battle raging outside. Jeremy's comm unit crackled to life, Admiral Chen Wei's voice cutting through the static. "Shaw, what's your status? We're making headway out here, but we need that intel." As Jeremy and Zara worked to secure the data, the space battle outside reached a fever pitch. Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of his flagship, his weathered face illuminated by the flashes of weapons fire visible through the view screen. The space between the human and alien fleets warped and twisted as the gravitational weapons came online. Alien vessels caught in the distortion fields began to break apart, their shields unable to withstand the intense forces. Making a split-second decision, Fenris barked orders to a small group of ships. "Task Force Zeta, with me. We're going after their infiltration team." As Fenris's task force broke away, the alien vanguard fell into disarray. Captain Sarah Martinez, leading the human decoy force, seized the opportunity. "All ships, execute Maneuver Omega," she commanded. "Let's give them something to chase." The holographic projectors on Martinez's ships kicked into overdrive, flooding the battlefield with hundreds of false sensor readings. The alien fleet's targeting systems went haywire, unable to distinguish between real and fake threats. Back on Earth, Dr. Elias Reeves hunched over his microscope, his eyes wide with excitement. "This can't be right," he muttered, double-checking his findings. "But it is!" He rushed to the communications center, his lab coat flapping behind him. "Get me a direct line to the fleet," he demanded. "I've got information that could change everything." As the message was relayed, a ripple of excitement passed through the human ships. Their unexpected success against the alien forces suddenly made sense. In the Galactic Council chambers, the debate had reached a fever pitch. Counselor Draknar slammed his scaled fist on the table, his voice rising above the din. "We must use the planet killers," he roared. "These humans are too dangerous to be allowed to spread." Counselor Lerna of the Etherian Collective rose, her luminous skin pulsing with emotion. "And become the very monsters we fear?" she countered. "We must open diplomatic channels before it's too late." The chamber erupted into chaos, counselors shouting over one another as the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Amidst the alien armada, Commander Caxelor's ship hung back from the main engagement. His crew looked to him uncertainly as he stared at the tactical display, conflict evident in his eyes. "Sir," his second-in-command ventured, "should we not rejoin the battle?" Caxelor's antenna twitched as he made his decision. "No," he said firmly, "we will not fire on the humans. Open a channel to any other ships who feel the same." As Caxelor's message spread, a number of alien vessels began to hesitate, creating further confusion in their ranks. Back on the command ship, Jeremy and Zara fought their way towards the communication center. They ducked behind a bulkhead as energy weapons fire scorched the wall behind them. "We're almost there," Zara panted, pointing towards a sealed door at the end of the corridor. Jeremy nodded, his mind focused. "Ready?" he asked, meeting Zara's eyes. For a moment, the human and the alien regarded each other, a newfound respect passing between them. Then, with a shared nod, they burst from cover and made a final dash for the communications center. "Shaw, we're approaching the command ship. Whatever you're going to do it now." Jeremy's fingers flew over the control panel as Zara covered him, returning fire at the approaching security forces. The door slid open, revealing a room filled with advanced communication equipment. "Here goes everything," Jeremy muttered as he began to broadcast their findings to both fleets. As the truth about the Council's secret research began to spread, the battle outside reached its climax. Human ships, their crews emboldened by the revelation of their genetic potential, pressed their advantage. The alien fleet, caught between confusion and mutiny, began to falter. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new era, with humanity poised to take its place among the stars. But as Jeremy and Zara watched the reactions flooding in from both sides, they knew that the most challenging part of their journey was just beginning. The truth was out, but what would be done with it remained to be seen. As Jeremy and Zara raced down the corridor towards the communication center, their breaths came in ragged gasps. The alarms continued to blare, casting an eerie red glow over their faces. Suddenly, a door slid open to their left, and a group of alien figures emerged. The lead alien, an Etherian with luminous skin that pulsed with subtle patterns, stepped forward. "I am Dr. Kira Volix," she said, her voice melodious and calming. "We're here to help." Jeremy lowered his weapons slowly, his eyes darting between Dr. Volix and her team. "How do we know we can trust you?" Dr. Volix's skin flickered with what seemed to be amusement. "Because, Mr. Shaw, we've been studying your kind for years. Your potential, it's breathtaking. We believe humanity could be the key to advancing our entire galaxy." Zara's eyes widened. "You're the ones behind the secret research?" "A part of it, yes," Dr. Volix nodded. "But we've come to very different conclusions than the Council. We need to get this information out, and fast. Will you allow us to assist you?" Jeremy and Zara exchanged a quick glance before nodding. "Lead the way," Jeremy said. As they moved swiftly through the ship's corridors, Dr. Volix explained their findings. Human adaptability isn't just physical. It's cognitive, problem-solving. Your species has the potential to innovate at an unprecedented rate. Meanwhile, in the void of space, the battle had reached a fever pitch. Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. A clear path had opened up to the alien command ship. "This is our chance," he muttered. Raising his voice, he barked out an order. "Major Steele, you have a go. Board that ship and secure it from the inside." On a smaller vessel nearby, Major Marcus Steele and his strike team prepared for boarding action. Steele, a grizzled veteran with piercing blue eyes, checked his gear one last time. Their breaching pods launched, streaking across space towards the command ship's hull. As they impacted and began cutting through, Steele allowed himself a grim smile. "Knock, knock," he muttered. Back on Earth, Dr. Elias Reeves paced his lab, his mind racing. He'd just made another breakthrough in understanding the human genetic adaptations. Rushing to the communication array, he practically shouted at the technician. As the message was relayed to the human ships, a ripple of understanding passed through the crews. Their unprecedented success suddenly made sense. They weren't just fighting harder, they were fighting smarter, adapting in real time to the alien tactics. In the Galactic Council chambers, the situation had devolved into chaos. Counselor Lerna stood atop a table, her luminous skin flashing with drive. "Enough!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the din. "We cannot allow fear to drive us to genocide. The humans are not our enemy. Our own short-sightedness is." Draknar, his scales flaring with rage, lunged at her. "Traitor! You would doom us all!" As the two factions clashed, the Council's security forces looked on in confusion, unsure of which side to support. On the command ship, Fenris and his team had finally caught up with Jeremy and his allies. They rounded a corner, weapons raised, only to find themselves face-to-face with Dr. Volix and her team. Fenris hesitated, his mandibles clicking in confusion. "Dr. Volix? What is the meaning of this?" Zara stepped forward, her hands raised placatingly. "Commander Fenris, please. There's so much you don't know. The Council, they've been lying to all of us." As Zara explained the truth about the secret research and the potential benefits of human adaptability, Fenris's world seemed to tilt on its axis. Everything he'd believed, everything he'd fought for, could it all have been based on a lie? While this confrontation unfolded, Major Steele and his strike team fought their way through the command ship's corridors. They encountered resistance, but their advanced tactics and equipment gave them the edge. Suddenly, they found themselves face to face with another alien squad. Steele raised his weapon, but the alien commander held up a hand. "Wait," the alien said. "I am Commander Caxilor. We no longer wish to fight." Steele's eyes narrowed. "What's your game, alien?" Caxilor's antenna drooped slightly. "No game. We've heard rumors, seen things that don't add up. If what we suspect is true, then this war is unjust. We propose a truce to uncover the truth together." "Crystal," Caxilor replied, using the human idiom with a hint of amusement. As this unlikely alliance formed, Jeremy, Zara, and Dr. Volix finally reached the communication center. They rushed to the consoles, fingers flying over alien interfaces. "We need to broadcast on all frequencies," Jeremy said urgently. "Both fleets need to hear this." Dr. Volix nodded, her skin pulsing with concentration as she worked. Suddenly, a holographic projection appeared above the main console, the ship's AI. "No!" Zara shouted, redoubling her efforts to bypass the AI's protocols. As systems began to shut down around them, Jeremy turned to Dr. Volix. "Can you override it?" The Etherean scientist's brow furrowed. "I can try, but it will take time. Time we may not have." Outside, Admiral Chen Wei watched as the human fleet pressed its advantage. The alien armada was in disarray, their formation shattered. Yet he knew that without the truth being broadcast, this victory might be short-lived. "Come on, Shaw," he muttered, staring at the looming form of the alien command ship. "We're counting on you." Inside the council chambers, Counselor Lerna and her supporters had managed to secure the upper hand. Draknar and his hawkish allies were surrounded, but they remained defiant. Lerna's skin pulsed with a complex pattern of emotions. "No, old friend, they might just be our salvation." As these events converged, the fate of two species, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. In the communications center of the alien command ship, Jeremy, Zara, and their unlikely allies raced against time, fighting to broadcast a truth that could change everything. Dr. Volix's skin pulsed with a vibrant pattern of excitement. "Quickly, we must broadcast the truth before they can shut us down again." Zara nodded, her antenna twitching as she worked alongside Jeremy. Together, they compiled the data on human adaptability, the Council's secret research, and the true potential for galactic cooperation. With a final command, they sent the information streaming out across all frequencies. The effect was immediate and profound. Throughout both fleets, communication channels exploded with chatter. Alien ships hung motionless in space, their crews struggling to process the revelation. Human vessels, initially poised to press their advantage, held their fire as confusion and hope warred within their ranks. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Chen Wei watched the unfolding scene with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The alien armada's formation had completely disintegrated, individual ships drifting aimlessly as their commanders grappled with the truth. Chen Wei straightened his uniform, his mind racing. This was the moment that would define humanity's future among the stars. "Put it through," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The holographic form of Counselor Lerna materialized on the bridge, her luminous skin pulsing with a complex array of colors. "Admiral Chen Wei," she began, her melodious voice carrying a note of urgency, "I represent the moderate faction of the Galactic Council. In light of recent revelations, we propose an immediate ceasefire and the commencement of diplomatic negotiations." Chen Wei studied the alien counselor, weighing his response carefully. After a moment, he nodded. "Counselor Lerna, on behalf of the human fleet and the people of Earth, we accept your proposal. Let us work together to end this conflict and forge a new path forward." As this exchange took place, Major Marcus Steele and his strike team found themselves in an unlikely alliance. Commander Caxilor, the alien officer who had proposed a truce, now fought alongside the humans as they secured key areas of the command ship. "Engine room secured," Steele reported into his comm unit, his voice gruff but tinged with a hint of respect for his alien allies. Caxilor's team is holding the main bridge. No signs of resistance so far. Caxilor's antenna twitched as he added, "My people are confused, but many are relieved. They never wanted this war, Major Steele. Your broadcast has given us hope for a different future." Back on Earth, Dr. Elias Reeves stared at his computer screen in disbelief. His team had been working around the clock, analyzing the data from the human adaptations observed during the conflict. Now, a complex molecular structure rotated on his screen, its implications staggering. His colleague, Dr. Sarah Chen, leaned in for a closer look. "The applications of this could be enormous," she said, her voice filled with awe. "Not just for humans, but for all species. Imagine the medical breakthroughs, the potential for surviving in extreme environments." As this discovery unfolded on Earth, Commander Fenris found himself at a crossroads aboard the alien command ship. The truth of the Council's deception and the potential of human adaptability deeply affected on his mind. With a decisive click of his mandibles, he made his choice. His words sent shockwaves through the Cindy ranks. One by one, other commanders began to signal their agreement, their ships powering down weapon systems and adopting non-aggressive postures. In the communications center, Jeremy and Zara worked tirelessly to decrypt the command ship's database. As they sifted through the information, a disturbing pattern emerged. "Zara, look at this," Jeremy said, pointing to a series of classified files. "The Council hasn't just been quarantining humans. There are records of other species they've isolated, all because they feared their potential." Zara's antenna drooped as she processed the information. This changes everything. We need to make this public. It could be the leverage we need in the negotiations. As if on cue, Counselor Lerna's voice echoed through the ship's communication systems. "Attention all beings," she began, her tone both solemn and hopeful. "In light of recent events, I am proposing a radical restructuring of the Galactic Council. We must embrace diversity, including humanity and other previously quarantined species. Only through unity can we truly achieve greatness as a galactic civilization." Her words were met with a mixture of shock gasps and murmurs of approval from various alien crews. The tide of opinion was shifting, but the future remained uncertain. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Chen Wei made a bold decision. Opening a channel to the council chambers, he addressed the gathered representatives. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice firm and clear, "humanity comes before you not just as supplicants, but as potential partners. We offer to share our gravitational distortion technology, a testament to our willingness to contribute to the greater galactic community. All we ask in return is acceptance and the opportunity to stand alongside you as equals." His offer sent ripples of excitement through the council chambers. The potential applications of such technology were immense, and it demonstrated humanity's commitment to cooperation. As negotiations progressed, Dr. Kira Volix and her team presented their findings on human adaptability to the council. "Honorable representatives," she said, her skin pulsing with enthusiasm, "the human genetic structure offers unprecedented opportunities for advancement. We propose a collaborative research initiative combining the brightest minds from all our species. Together, we could unlock medical and environmental breakthroughs that would benefit every corner of the galaxy." The council chambers buzzed with excitement at the possibilities. However, unbeknownst to the gathered representatives, a new threat was taking shape in the shadows. In a hidden facility on a distant moon, Counselor Draknar, his scales dark with rage, gathered his most loyal followers. "The fools," he snarled, gesturing to a massive weapon looming behind him. "They would throw away everything we've built, all for the sake of these human upstarts. We'll show them the price of their betrayal. Prepare the planet killer. Earth will be our first target, and with it, we'll crush this pitiful rebellion." As Draknar's followers scrambled to activate the weapon, a coded transmission made its way to the command ship. Zara, still monitoring the decrypted channels, intercepted the message. Her eyes widened in horror as she decoding its contents. "Jeremy," she called out, her voice tight with urgency, "we have a problem, a big one." Jeremy rushed to her side, reading the decoded message with growing alarm. "A planet killer? Targeting Earth? We need to stop this, now." Without hesitation, Jeremy opened a channel to both human and alien forces. "This is Jeremy Shaw. We've uncovered a plot by hardline elements to use a planet-killing weapon against Earth. We need a joint task force to locate and neutralize this threat immediately." As the message spread, human special forces and their new alien allies began to mobilize. The race against time had begun, with the fate of Earth and the fragile peace hanging in the balance. The galaxy stood at a crossroads, teetering between a new era of cooperation and the brink of catastrophe. Catastrophe, the revelation of Draknar's planet-killer weapon, galvanized both human and alien forces into action. Admiral Chen Wei's voice crackled over the comms, his tone urgent but controlled. "All available units, this is Admiral Wei. We have a critical situation. Joint task force to assemble immediately for a high-priority mission. This is not a drill." "We've pinpointed the weapon's location," Jeremy explained, gesturing to a holographic map. "It's hidden on an asteroid base in the Void Nebula." Zara's antenna twitched as she added, "The nebula's electromagnetic storms make it nearly impossible to detect or approach, but thanks to Dr. Volix's tracking technology, we have a chance." As the task force prepared for departure, Admiral Chen Wei coordinated with the human fleet and their new alien allies. "We'll launch a diversionary attack on Draknar's main forces," he announced. "It should draw attention away from the asteroid base and give our team the opening they need." The plan set in motion, Jeremy and Zara led their team to a series of sleek, stealth shuttles. The vessel's hulls shimmered with a light-absorbing coating, rendering them nearly invisible to the naked eye. As they boarded, Sergeant Maria Rodriguez, a human combat engineer, examined the alien weaponry with keen interest. "Never thought I'd be using one of these," she muttered, hefting a plasma rifle. An alien soldier named Krelax noticed her curiosity. "The recoil is minimal, but watch the heat buildup," he advised, his mandibles clicking softly. The shuttles launched, streaking away from the command ship and into the swirling chaos of the Void Nebula. Jeremy's hands danced over the controls, guiding their vessel through the treacherous electromagnetic storms. Arcs of energy crackled across the viewscreen, bathing the cockpit in eerie, pulsating light. "Proximity alert!" Zara called out suddenly. "Automated defenses, dead ahead!" Jeremy's reflexes kicked in as energy blasts and guided projectiles erupted from concealed turrets on nearby asteroids. He barrel-rolled the shuttle, narrowly avoiding a cluster of plasma bolts. "Hold on!" he shouted as he executed a series of evasive maneuvers. The human pilot's skill impressed even the alien members of the team. Krelax watched in amazement as Jeremy threaded the shuttle through a gauntlet of asteroids and weapons fire. "Your species' adaptability is remarkable," he commented. "You've mastered our technology in a fraction of the time it took us to develop it." As they neared the asteroid base, Jeremy brought the shuttle in for a landing in a shadowed crater. The task force disembarked swiftly, splitting into two groups as planned. "Zara, take your team and find a way to disable that weapon," Jeremy instructed. "We'll handle Draknar and his loyalists." The two teams moved out, using the asteroid's craggy surface for cover. Jeremy's assault team encountered resistance almost immediately. Hardline alien defenders poured out of concealed bunkers, their weapons filling the air with sizzling energy bolts. The human soldiers' combat experience in extreme environments quickly proved invaluable. They adapted to the asteroid's low gravity with ease, using it to their advantage as they bounded from cover to cover. "Rodriguez, Krelax, flank left!" Jeremy shouted over the din of battle. "Williams, suppressing fire!" The coordinated assault caught the defenders off guard. Rodriguez and Krelax worked in tandem, the humans' earth-honed combat skills complementing the aliens' advanced weaponry. They cleared bunker after bunker, pushing steadily towards the base's main entrance. "It's a quantum-lock security system," one of the alien technicians explained, his tentacles waving in frustration. "It would take days to crack the code." Sergeant Rodriguez studied the door, her brow furrowed in concentration. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. "What if we don't crack it?" she suggested. "What if we trick it instead?" Using a combination of Earth-based hacking techniques and alien technology, Rodriguez created a feedback loop in the security system. The door's glyphs flickered, then faded as it slid open with a pneumatic hiss. Incredible, the alien technician breathed. I never would have thought of that approach. As they raced towards the weapon control room, alarms blared throughout the base. Draknar's voice echoed over the intercom, filled with rage and desperation. You cannot stop the inevitable, he roared. Humanity's time has come to an end. In the control room, Zara and her team found themselves face to face with the planet killer weapon. A massive energy cannon dominated the chamber, its barrel aimed ominously at a holographic representation of Earth. He's initiated the firing sequence, Zara realized with horror. A countdown timer flashed on a nearby console, its numbers ticking relentlessly downward. Rodriguez immediately set to work, her fingers flying over the alien controls. The targeting system is locked, she reported. We need to find a way to divert the energy buildup. As Zara and Rodriguez worked frantically to disable the weapon, Jeremy's team fought their way to Draknar's command center. They encountered a final line of defense, a group of genetically enhanced alien warriors, their bodies rippling with augmented muscles. The battle that ensued was intense and close quarters. The human soldiers found themselves tested to their limits, relying on a combination of martial arts, improvised weapons, and sheer grit to hold their ground. Jeremy ducked under a swipe from a massive alien warrior, using the creature's momentum to flip it over his shoulder. He snatched up a fallen energy staff, wielding the unfamiliar weapon with surprising skill. We're not your enemy, Draknar, Jeremy shouted as he fought. There's room for all of us in this galaxy. The command center doors burst open, revealing Draknar himself. The deposed counselor's scales were dark with fury, his eyes blazing as he surveyed the scene before him. You humans, he spat, you'll destroy everything we've built. Your potential is a threat to the very fabric of our society. Jeremy lowered his weapon, taking a cautious step forward. Or we could help build something even greater, he countered. Imagine what we could achieve together, as allies instead of enemies. As Jeremy and Draknar faced off, the countdown to Earth's destruction continued. In the weapon control room, Zara and Rodriguez worked with desperate intensity, racing against time to avert catastrophe. 10 seconds, an alien technician called out, his voice tight with fear. Rodriguez's eyes narrowed as she made a final adjustment. Come on, she whispered. Come on. The countdown reached 0. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a groan of protesting metal, the planet-killer weapon powered down, its energy core going dark. A cheer went up from the technical team. Zara allowed herself a brief smile of relief before activating her comm. Jeremy, we've done it. The weapon is disabled. In the command center, Jeremy nodded at the news. He turned back to Draknar, who stood frozen in disbelief. It's over, Jeremy said quietly, but it doesn't have to end here. We can work together, build a future that includes all of us. Draknar's shoulders slumped as the fight drained out of him. With a gesture of defeat, he signaled his remaining forces to stand down. As word of the mission's success spread, shockwaves of change rippled through the galactic community. Admiral Chen Wei seized the moment, pushing for immediate recognition of human rights and the lifting of Earth's quarantine status. In the council chambers, Counselor Lerna and Dr. Elias Reeves presented their proposal for human integration into galactic society. They spoke of the potential benefits of human adaptability, from colonizing harsh environments to developing new medical treatments. The events of today have shown us what humanity is capable of, Lerna addressed the assembled representatives, not just in terms of combat prowess or technological aptitude, but in their capacity for cooperation, innovation, and diplomacy. They have earned their place among us. As the council debated, the Joint Human-Alien Task Force returned to a hero's welcome. Their success stood as a powerful testament to the potential of interspecies cooperation. Yet challenges remained. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new era, one that promised great opportunities, but also significant upheaval. The integration of humanity into the galactic community would not be without its difficulties. As Jeremy and Zara stood on the observation deck of the command ship, watching the swirl of stars around them, they knew that their work was just the beginning. The next phase of negotiations awaited, along with the monumental task of restructuring the Galactic Council. Humanity had proven its worth, but now came the true test, helping to shape the future of interstellar relations in a way that would benefit all species. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in galactic history, it was a path they would walk together. The aftermath of the crisis brought rapid change to the galactic stage. Within days, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session to address humanity's status. The council chambers buzzed with tension as representatives from across the cosmos debated Earth's future. Jeremy stood before the assembly, his heart pounding. He'd faced down alien threats and disarmed planet-killer weapons, but this moment felt even more crucial. The fate of his entire species hung on the Council's decision. Members of the Council, Jeremy began, his voice steady despite his nerves, humanity has proven its worth. We ask not for special treatment, but for the opportunity to stand alongside you as partners in shaping our shared future. We have seen the humans' potential firsthand, she declared. Their adaptability and innovation could propel us all forward. We cannot ignore this opportunity for growth and cooperation. Hours of intense deliberation followed. Jeremy watched, scarcely breathing, as the votes were tallied. Finally, the council speaker announced the result. Earth's quarantine would be lifted, and humanity granted provisional membership in the galactic community. The news spread like wildfire across Earth and beyond. Celebrations erupted in every major city on the planet. In New York, holographic fireworks lit up the sky, their colors mixing with the warm glow of newly installed alien technology. Tokyo's streets filled with revelers, human and alien alike, sharing in the joy of this historic moment. Admiral Chen Wei wasted no time in capitalizing on the newfound alliance. Within weeks, he established the first joint human-alien military training program. On a massive space station orbiting Jupiter, human soldiers found themselves facing challenges beyond their wildest imaginations. Sergeant Maria Rodriguez grunted as she hauled herself through a zero-gravity obstacle course. Floating globules of alien biomatter pulsed and shifted, forcing her to constantly readjust her trajectory. Beside her, a Cindy trainee named Krelax moved with fluid grace, his 6 limbs giving him a distinct advantage. As the soldiers trained, Dr. Elias Reeves led a team of scientists in groundbreaking research. In a state-of-the-art laboratory on Mars, human and alien researchers worked side by side, probing the secrets of human DNA. Remarkable, murmured Dr. Zorax, a Placidian geneticist, as he examined a holographic model of a human genome. The adaptability of your species extends to the very building blocks of life. Elias nodded, excitement evident in his voice. We believe this could be the key to developing treatments for a wide range of alien diseases. Imagine being able to cure ailments that have plagued species for millennia. Back on Earth, the global landscape was transforming at an astonishing pace. In the outskirts of Shanghai, a gleaming spaceport rose from the ground, its architecture a blend of human ingenuity and alien aesthetics. Zara, the Cindy engineer, stood beside Jeremy, surveying the construction. Your people work quickly, Zara observed, her antenna twitching with curiosity. I've never seen a species adapt to new technology so rapidly. Jeremy smiled, a hint of pride in his expression. It's what we do best. Speaking of which, how about I show you around the city? There's this great noodle place I think you'd love. As Earth embraced its new role in the cosmos, humans began venturing out into the stars. On a distant planet in the Orion Arm, Captain Sarah Martinez wiped sweat from her brow as she oversaw the construction of humanity's first off-world colony. Status report, she called out to her team. Lieutenant Ravi Patel jogged up, datapad in hand. We've hit a snag with the atmospheric processors, Captain. The local pollen is clogging the filters faster than we anticipated. Sarah frowned, her mind already racing through potential solutions. All right, let's brainstorm. Maybe we can adapt some of the native plant life to create a natural barrier. As humanity spread its wings, not everyone welcomed the change. On a shadowy space station in the Outer Rim, a group of disgruntled aliens gathered. Their leader, a scarred Denabian named Vextor, addressed the assembly. The humans spread like a plague, he growled. They'll destroy everything we've built, replace our ways with their own. We must act now, before it's too late. Meanwhile, in the halls of galactic power, Jeremy found himself thrust into the role of Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. He stood before a hollow mirror, adjusting his formal attire, a blend of traditional human diplomatic wear and alien symbolism. Zara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. You faced worse odds. Just be yourself. That's what got humanity this far. As Jeremy prepared to address the council, the galaxy held its breath. Humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun, and the path ahead was filled with both promise and peril. New alliances would be forged, ancient secrets uncovered, and the very fabric of galactic society tested. The stage was set for an era of unprecedented change, with humanity at its center. As Jeremy stepped onto the council floor, he knew that every word, every action, would shape the future, not just of Earth, but of countless worlds across the cosmos. Jeremy's words echoed through the council chamber as he concluded his address. The assembled representatives murmured amongst themselves, a mix of approval and lingering skepticism in their voices. As Jeremy stepped down from the podium, a commotion erupted near the chamber's entrance. A Zalaxian diplomat burst in, his translucent skin pulsing with urgency. Counselors, we have a crisis! A plague has broken out on Xylax Prime! The chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives clamored for information, their voices rising in panic. Counselor Lerna raised her hands, calling for order. Ambassador Shaw, she said, turning to Jeremy, your species has shown remarkable adaptability. We need humanity's help. Jeremy nodded, his mind racing. Of course, I'll contact Earth immediately. Within hours, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The plague was spreading rapidly, affecting multiple species and worlds. Dr. Elias Reeves found himself summoned to an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council's scientific division. The holographic projections flickered as Reeves addressed the gathered minds. The plague appears to target specific genetic markers common to many alien species, he explained, gesturing to a rotating DNA model. Interestingly, these markers are absent in human DNA. A Placidian scientist leaned forward, her bioluminescent eyes narrowing. Are you suggesting humans are immune? As the scientific community mobilized, Jeremy worked tirelessly to maintain diplomatic relations. He paced the embassy's communications center, his voice hoarse from hours of negotiations. The Danebian's tentacles writhed with agitation. Pretty convenient that humans are immune, isn't it? How do we know this isn't some ploy for galactic domination? As Jeremy worked to quell rising anti-human sentiment, Admiral Chen Wei coordinated with alien military leaders to establish quarantine zones. On the bridge of the UES horizon, Chen studied a holographic map of affected systems. We'll need to adapt our containment protocols for each world, he told his mixed human-alien crew. Ensign Talara, work with the Andorian contingent to develop environmental suits for their ice moons. Talara, a young human officer, nodded crisply. Yes, sir, I'll start right away. Meanwhile, on the distant colony world of New Eden, Captain Sarah Martinez received an urgent transmission from Galactic Command. Her colony was to become a key research site for studying human immunity. Sarah addressed the assembled colonists, their faces a mix of grit and apprehension. I know this is asking a lot, she said, her voice carrying across the settlement's central plaza, but by volunteering for these tests, we can save countless lives across the galaxy. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. A weathered farmer stepped forward, rolling up his sleeve. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's show them what humans are made of. Back on Earth, Zara worked feverishly with a team of human engineers to develop a network of advanced medical stations. In a sprawling laboratory complex, she manipulated a holographic model of a modular hospital unit. If we reconfigure the matter synthesizers, she mused, her antenna twitching with concentration, we can increase production capacity by 37%. A human engineer nodded, making rapid calculations on his datapad. Good thinking. We'll need every edge we can get to distribute the cure once it's developed. As Zara immersed herself in the project, she couldn't help but marvel at the humans' dedication. Their boundless energy and creativity both thrilled and unsettled her. She thought of Jeremy, wondering how he was faring amidst the diplomatic chaos. Across the galaxy, Fenris and his interspecies security team traced the plague's origin to a remote research facility. Their ship, a sleek vessel designed for stealth, slipped through the swirling gases of an unstable nebula. Sensors are picking up unusual energy signatures, reported Cathax, a Vargon specialist. Definitely not natural. Fenris nodded grimly. Take us in. Weapons hot, but hold fire unless absolutely necessary. We need answers, not a firefight. As they approached the hidden facility, none of them could have anticipated the shocking truth they were about to uncover. A truth that would shake the very foundations of the galactic community and thrust humanity into the center of an impending interstellar conflict. In the depths of space, an unknown force watched and waited, their plans set in motion. The plague was just the beginning. As the galaxy scrambled to find a cure, a far greater threat loomed on the horizon, unseen and undetected. The true test of humanity's place among the stars was about to begin. The true test of humanity's place among the stars was about to unfold in ways no one could have imagined. Dr. Elias Reeves hunched over his workstation, his eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. Holographic displays flickered around him, each one showing a different aspect of the plague's genetic structure. With a flick of his wrist, he overlaid the human genome onto the plague model. His alien colleagues gathered around, their diverse forms a testament to the united front against the galactic threat. Dr. Zorax, the Placidian geneticist, leaned in close, his bioluminescent eyes widening. Reeves nodded, already running simulations on potential cures. If we can synthesize these antibodies and adapt them to other species' physiologies, we might have a chance. As Reeves and his team worked tirelessly to develop the cure, Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, overseeing a massive logistical operation. The starship's hold had been converted into a mobile medical facility, capable of producing and distributing the cure on an unprecedented scale. "Status report," Chen barked, her eyes fixed on the holographic map of affected worlds. Lieutenant Commander Rajesh Patel stepped forward. "The first batch of the cure is ready, Admiral. We've plotted the most efficient distribution routes to cover all affected systems." Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. "Launch the operation. Every second counts." Across the galaxy, human ships joined the effort, their faster-than-light drives pushing the limits of known physics to deliver hope to dying worlds. On the bridge of the UES Artemis, Captain Elena Rodriguez watched as her crew worked in perfect sync with their alien counterparts. "Entering the Zelaxian system," her helmsman announced. "Prepare for atmospheric entry." Rodriguez activated the ship-wide comm. "All hands brace for turbulence. Let's show these people what humanity can do." As the fleet raced to distribute the cure, Jeremy Shaw found himself in the heart of a diplomatic storm. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from dozens of worlds argued over the next steps. "We cannot simply open our worlds to a flood of refugees," a Danebian counselor shouted, his tentacles writhing in agitation. Jeremy stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Counselors, I understand your concerns, but we face an unprecedented crisis. Earth and its colonies are prepared to offer safe haven to those most affected by the plague." He activated a holographic display showing detailed plans for Operation Safe Haven. The chamber fell silent as Jeremy outlined the logistics of the massive relocation effort. "We have the resources and the will to make this work," he concluded. "All we ask is for your trust and cooperation." As the council deliberated, Captain Sarah Martinez surveyed the bustling activity on New Eden. The once quiet colony had transformed into a key staging area for the refugee relocation efforts. Temporary shelters stretched as far as the eye could see, each one designed to accommodate the unique needs of different alien species. Martinez approached a group of human colonists working alongside a family of Zelaxians to set up a hydroponic garden. "How's it coming along?" she asked. The Zelaxian patriarch, his translucent skin shimmering with gratitude, extended a tendril towards Martinez. "We cannot thank you enough for your hospitality," he said, his words translated by a nearby drone. Martinez smiled, clasping the tendril gently. We're all in this together now. If we recalibrate the quantum sensors to detect subtle variances in subspace, she explained to her human colleagues, we can potentially identify incoming threats before they even enter normal space. A young human engineer named Alex furrowed his brow. But wouldn't that require an enormous amount of processing power? Zara nodded, her mandibles clicking in excitement. That's where human ingenuity comes in. Your quantum computing algorithms are unlike anything I've seen. Combined with our technology, we can create something truly revolutionary. As she worked, Zara found her thoughts drifting to Jeremy. The intensity of their shared experiences had forged a bond that transcended species, and she found herself longing for his company in ways she hadn't anticipated. Meanwhile, on the fringes of known space, Fenris and his interspecies security team approached a derelict space station. Intelligence suggested it held crucial information about the source of the plague and the looming invasion. Life support is minimal, Cathax reported, his Vargon sensory organs pulsing with caution. Atmosphere is thin, but breathable for most species. Fenris nodded, checking the seals on his armor. We go in quiet. Stay alert for any signs of the Void Collective. As they breached the airlock, the team was met with an eerie silence. The station's corridors were dark, illuminated only by the occasional spark of damaged systems. They moved swiftly, scanning for data terminals, or any clues about the station's former occupants. Contact! Fenris shouted, opening fire. The creature shrugged off the energy blasts, its form shifting and adapting with each hit. Back on Earth, Jeremy stood before the newly formed Galactic Defense Alliance, his impassioned words echoing through the Grand Chamber. We stand at a crossroads, he declared, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's hopes and fears. The Void Collective threatens not just our lives, but the very essence of who we are. But together, united in our diversity, we have a strength they can never match. As representatives from hundreds of worlds listened, Jeremy outlined a bold strategy that would combine the best of each species' abilities. Human adaptability and creativity would be the linchpin, the unpredictable element that could turn the tide against the hive mind tactics of the collective. The chamber erupted in applause as Jeremy concluded his speech. Counselor Lerna approached him, her crystalline form resonating with approval. You have given us hope, Ambassador, she said softly. Now we must turn that hope into action. As the Alliance mobilized for war, Dr. Reeves made a discovery that would shake the foundations of human understanding. In a secure lab deep beneath Geneva, he stared at a genetic sequence that defied explanation. This can't be right, he muttered, running the analysis again, but the results were undeniable. The human genome contained markers of advanced genetic engineering, far beyond anything currently possible. As Jeremy processed this revelation, reports came flooding in from the edges of known space. The first skirmishes with Void Collective scout ships had begun, and human pilots were proving their worth in spectacular fashion. Lieutenant Samantha Chen, flying a state-of-the-art hybrid fighter, executed a maneuver that should have been impossible. She corkscrewed through a debris field, using the gravitational eddies to slingshot herself behind a collective ship. Her weapons found their mark, and the enemy vessel erupted in a silent explosion. Tango down, she reported calmly, already moving to support her alien wingmates. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human unpredictability, combined with alien technology and tactics, was keeping the Void Collective off balance. But this was just the beginning. As the Galactic Alliance braced for full-scale war, humanity found itself thrust into a role it had never imagined. Once quarantined and feared, they now stood as a linchpin in the defense of all sentient life. The challenges ahead were immense, but for the first time, the galaxy faced them truly united. Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of the battlefield. Thousands of ships from the Galactic Defense Alliance spread out before her, a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between humanity and alien species. All ships prepare for engagement, Chen's voice rang out across the comm channels. Remember your training. Use our diversity as our strength. As the two fleets clashed in a spectacular display of interstellar warfare, Captain Sarah Martinez led her squadron of hybrid human-alien fighters into the fray. Her cockpit came alive with a cacophony of alien languages and human shouts as pilots from a dozen species coordinated their attacks. "Echo Wing, on me," Martinez called out, her hands dancing across the controls. "We're going to punch a hole in their left flank." Her fighter corkscrewed through space, its hybrid propulsion system leaving a trail of exotic particles in its wake. The alien-human hybrid technology responded to her thoughts as much as her physical inputs, allowing for maneuvers that defied conventional tactics. Behind her, a Zalaxian pilot named Thrix executed a series of rapid-fire plasma bursts, his crystalline appendages interfacing directly with his ship's weapon systems. To their right, a pair of human pilots wove an intricate pattern through enemy fire, drawing attention away from a Placidian stealth ship as it prepared to strike. The Void Collective ships, despite their technological superiority, found themselves confounded by the unpredictable nature of the Alliance's attack patterns. Their hive mind, accustomed to perfect synchronization, struggled to adapt to the chaos introduced by human ingenuity. Meanwhile, in a secure lab beneath Geneva, Dr. Elias Reeves stared at his holographic displays with a mix of awe and trepidation. The fruits of his labor pulsed before him, a shimmering, almost alive string of data that represented the psychic vaccine. "It's ready," he announced to the team of multi-species scientists gathered around him. "But the delivery mechanism—" His voice trailed off as he considered the immense risk involved in broadcasting such a complex psychic construct across the battlefield. The sound of running footsteps made him turn, only to see Jeremy Shaw burst into the lab, his face flushed with urgency. "Doctor, we need that vaccine now," Jeremy said, his eyes darting to the tactical displays showing the battle raging above. "We're implementing the broadcast plan." Reeves nodded grimly. "It's ready, but Jeremy, the risks—" "I know," Jeremy cut him off. "We have a volunteer." As if on cue, Zara stepped into the lab, her antenna twitching with a mix of tenacity and fear. Jeremy's expression softened as he looked at her, a wealth of unspoken emotions passing between them. "Are you sure about this?" Jeremy asked softly, taking her hand in his. Zara's mandibles clicked in what Jeremy had come to recognize as a smile. "Someone has to do it. My unique physiology and our connection make me the ideal candidate." As the team rushed to prepare Zara for the procedure, the battle above reached a fever pitch. Fenris and his security force executed a precise strike against the Void Collective's command ship, their specialized equipment allowing them to breach its formidable defenses. Back on Earth, Zara was connected to a massive array of human and alien technologies. As the procedure began, her mind expanded, connecting with the planetary defense system and the vast network of Alliance ships. The strain was immediate and intense. Zara's body arched in pain as her consciousness became a conduit for the psychic vaccine. Through gritted teeth, she forced out words in a voice that seemed to echo with the thoughts of millions. "Broadcasting, now!" Across the battlefield, the effect was as immediate as it was dramatic. Void Collective ships began to falter, their movements becoming erratic. Within the hive mind, individual consciousnesses began to resurface, sowing confusion and chaos throughout the enemy fleet. Admiral Chen Wei, recognizing the turning point, barked out orders. "All ships, press the advantage. Concentrate fire on their command structures." Human pilots, their natural adaptability shining, quickly adjusted their tactics to exploit the Collective's newfound weaknesses. They flew in daring attack patterns, drawing fire away from their alien counterparts who delivered precision strikes against the faltering enemy. As the battle raged, Jeremy stood vigil over Zara's prone form, her body twitching with the strain of channeling the psychic vaccine. Sweat beaded on her exoskeleton, and her antenna writhed in apparent agony. In space, the tide had decisively turned. The Void Collective's remaining ships, their hive mind connections severed, began to retreat in disarray. Admiral Chen Wei's flagship led a final assault, its weapons blazing as it tore through the enemy's shattered defenses. As the last of the Collective ships disappeared into the depths of space, A cheer went up across the Alliance fleet. Humans embraced their alien comrades, the bonds of friendship forged in battle, transcending species barriers. Back on Earth, Zara's eyes fluttered open, her mind strained but intact. As her vision cleared, she found Jeremy's face hovering above her, etched with concern and something deeper. "Did it work?" she asked, her voice weak but hopeful. As the initial euphoria of victory began to settle, Jeremy knew that the real work was just beginning. The galaxy had been transformed, and humanity's place in it had been irrevocably changed. The quarantine that had once isolated Earth was now nothing more than a memory. Looking out at the sea of human and alien faces, all united in their joy and relief, Jeremy felt a profound sense of hope for the future. The challenges ahead were many, but for the first time in galactic history, they would face them truly united.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.